A self-acclaimed prophet, Segun Philip, Owolabi Adeyeko, and his mother, Bola Adeyeko, who were arrested for killing a LASU student, Favour Oladele, were arraigned on Friday at the Magistrate Court in Akomo, Osun State.
I ate her heart with my mother so that we could get rich. This statement is the highlight statement of the confession of a boyfriend who murdered her girlfriend for the purposes of money rituals. And it is just one hell of a case. Today's true crime story is coming out of Nigeria in West Africa, and the root cause of this particular true crime case is stupidity about making of money, wickedness, a false prophet, and more stupidity about the making of money. You get to understand why I keep stressing on the stupidity of the making of money. So the case starts with a university graduate by name Favour Dale Oladele. Now, Favour Dale Oladele was a final year student of the Lagos State University, abbreviated as LASU, and she was getting ready to complete her university education with hopes of just rising in the corporate world to pursue a career and better her fortune. Favour would eventually meet a boyfriend whilst she was about to graduate called Adeyeko Owolabi, who was just 23 years old. Take note, this boyfriend called Adeyeko Owolabi was just 23 years old, and Favour thought she had found love, but little did she know that there were other things in store, because it turns out that this Adeyeko Owolabi is staying with his mother, who turns out to be something else, because Adeyeko Owolabi's mom is the breadwinner of the family, but apparently she had gone broke. And for that, there was now pressure on this 23-year-old Adeyeko Owolabi to help better the fortunes of the family. Now, given all this, he had still gone ahead to find a girlfriend in the person of Favour Dale Oladele and was dating her. I'm not saying it's wrong to date somebody if you are broke, but all I'm saying is, if you are doing all that, be ready to put in the work to earn money for yourself and your family. Don't go into a relationship with ulterior motives about how to financially gain from that relationship at the expense of the other. That is very criminal, and that is exactly what would lead to the essence of this true crime case, because at the tender age of 23 years old, Adeyeko Owolabi, saddled with financial pressure from his family, was looking for ways of making money quickly without having to work for it. And that is where the stupidity about the making of money starts, because if you are well inclined with financial education and the making of money, you would begin to understand that money doesn't grow on trees, and there's nothing like a get-rich-quick scheme. You hear most of that around: get rich quick with this, get rich quick with that. But time has proven that all those things are just scams of other people to scam you in your greed to get rich quick, so that they can get rich quick off your greed. But it will never help you yourself to get rich quick. But unfortunately, this 23-year-old Adeyeko Owolabi, as lazy as he was, believed that there was a way for him to get rich quick. And guess which avenue he took? Yeah, he went to a self-proclaimed pastor, a 42-year-old man by name Philip Segun, and had a discussion with him that this pastor should help him to become rich. This is where the stupidity gets more stupid, because if the pastor could help you get rich, he himself would have been rich at the time you met him. But that was not the case. This is a pastor, a self-proclaimed pastor, of course, who runs a white garment church, and he takes offertory from his members before he can embark on anything for his church, meaning that he himself is not financially sound. And yet, because this guy is so stupid about money matters, he went to this pastor to help him make money. And that was where all the troubles will start. And unfortunately, the fate of Favor Dale Oladele, his girlfriend, would now be brought into the balance, and ultimately she would end up losing her life in one of the most gruesome manner. But guess what? It was not just this 23-year-old boyfriend of hers who would hatch such a plan, because it turns out that the pastor suggested that he could help this boyfriend of Favor get money quickly by sacrificing her. When I say sacrificing her, I mean the full context of the word sacrificing. That is literally sacrificing her as someone would sacrifice a sheep as an offering. So the plan was to unalive her and then use her remains and her blood as a sacrifice, after which the money will come. And when I hear these things, I just don't understand how come people can buy into it. I've lived in Ghana, Africa all my life, and if you are hearing this for the first time, don't get surprised. It's almost so normal across African countries. It's almost so normal. I'm yet to see somebody this has worked for, but it is I don't even want to say it's a myth. It is a belief that some people have, that they can resort to money-making rituals and get rich. To the point, there are some countries where if you are an albino, you always have to keep your head on a swivel, because they also believe that, or some people there also believe that, if you use an albino for a money-making ritual, it will be very successful. So albinos are always on the alert, because you don't know who may be targeting you. There are other countries where some people believe in using virgins, others where some people believe in using babies. So there are a lot of crazy things going on out there. Just like any other part of the world will have their own form of crazy. Down here in Africa, money-making ritual seems something unique to the continent with some of the people here. I haven't heard of this thing outside of Africa before. If you have, you can let me know in the comment section. So this was the plan that was hatched. And the other surprising part about it is that the mother of this 23-year-old boy was in on it. She was in on this get-rich-quick scheme, which was planned to harvest the organs of Favor, and some way, somehow, they would now get money. And it surprises me so much that this mother could be part of it, because granted, the guy being 23-year-old is stupid enough not to understand these things and thinks it works. So he's being driven by his youthful exuberance, ignorance, and stupidity. And the pastor is also being driven by maybe a monetary benefit he will get from them before he can embark on what he's going to do. You, the mother, it's expected that you as a woman would have some feeling for your fellow woman, and especially since you are also a mother, just like Favor, the would-be victim, also has a mother. You know the pains of pregnancy and childbirth and what goes into losing a child. So why would you be ready to conspire with your son to eliminate another person's daughter just so you have a chance of making some money from that money-making ritual? And that is what begins to justified as saying that the love of money is the root of all evil. Because the annoying thing is, sometimes some of these people do these things, and if they are able to get some money from it, they come back to church and come and give testimonies that it was God who blessed them. And then the right people, or the people who are actually doing the right things and hustling, hoping that one day they'll get their big break, but are yet to get it, would see these people and feel like they are rather not doing something right. That is how things are going these days, and I think it's very disgusting. This case is as recent as 2019. So, on this fateful day of 8th December, a plan was hatched and executed, and this boyfriend was able to convince Favor, his girlfriend, to come meet him up at the church. Now, Favor Dale Oladele was in love. She was clueless. She never saw anything that prompted or made her suspect that this guy could do something like this. And that is the thing. You never know with people, honestly. For me, I always say that appreciate people who don't hide things from you. Appreciate people who tell you what they like, what they don't like, tell you what they want, what they don't want. Appreciate people who are as open to you as a book, because it gives you a chance to know them and know how to be with them. But there are people who are so pretensive, and others who are also very, very quiet and unrevealing. Most often, those are the people who can surprise you, because you can't even reach them and they don't tell you anything. And they put up a fake appearance, a pretense. So by the time you realize who they really are, most likely you're already in something nasty, and you might not be able to get out of it. And that was what Favor found herself in. Because when she got to the church, things have already been planned. So the pastor and her boyfriend, Adeoku Olabi, they pounced on her and finished her off. But it didn't end there. It was her boyfriend who struck the final blow, and then this pastor opened her up and took out her internal organs, and then prepared a meal with it and served it to the mother of her boyfriend and the boyfriend for them to eat. Because after they eat that particular type of meal, then the wealth will come. Is this not stupid? I've covered several true crime cases. There are some that are cases with the root cause coming from passion, maybe crime of passion. Some are coming from somebody doing something to the loved one of someone. You know, in as much as some of them are crimes, there are some on an emotional level you can begin to appreciate why somebody will be driven to that point. Like somebody attacking someone because they are hurting their child or their spouse or their loved one. It might not be right, but you can understand in a way. But this is just stupid. This feels like a group of ignorant, stupid, hypocritic people just in their own mind, thinking stupidly and giving results or giving birth to a result that begins to complicate the lives of people who are not part of their stupid thinking. That is how I see this, because at the end of the day, it was the lady, Favor Olaolu, who eventually became the victim of everything. Favor Dale Oladele became the victim. She was not looking for any money ritual, but just by being associated with this guy who was now her boyfriend, he saw her as the easy target to be used for that ritual. So where was the love in the first place? That's the question. Because he used her for this. And if the money had come, he would have gone for another woman. That is how evil some people are. So they did all this. They ate the food. and they were waiting for the wealth to come. But guess what? The family of Favor had also reported her missing to the police, and the police were frantically searching for her. At which point, they started cross-referencing her cell phone calls and pings, and they were able to trace her to this White Garments church. So, they followed through to the church, and upon getting there, they saw this self-proclaimed pastor, Philip Segun, and arrested him. At which point, they confronted him about the whereabouts of Favor, only for him to easily break down and indicate that he didn't have anything to do with the girl being missing, but it was rather her boyfriend who brought her there for money-making ritual. Now, investigations would now reveal to the police on site that the boyfriend was also still at the church. So it was like the church was now the crime headquarters. They did a quick search and they saw this boyfriend, Adeoku Owolabi, and arrested him. At which point he also confessed, putting responsibility back on the pastor, that he came to the pastor for advice and the pastor recommended that they do this money-making ritual, and then he brought his girlfriend, and the rest is history. Now, for the family of Favor Dali Oladile, they were very hopeful that even though their loved one was missing, there was still a good chance she'd be found alive in whatever situation she was in, which had led to her being missing. But unfortunately, they would have to face that uncomfortable and heartbreaking news that she had been found deceased. Now, on this, the question then was, who are to be held responsible? The pastor and her boyfriend and her boyfriend's mom were arrested, and as is expected, they were prosecuted and found guilty. The mom of her boyfriend was sentenced to 2 years in prison, whilst her boyfriend and the pastor were sentenced to death. But you see, in all this, the life of Favor has already been lost, and her family would have to deal with the pain and loss. And looking at the tragic circumstance under which she was lost, this is so traumatic. It transcends generations. The family members would have to go on into the future knowing that this is what happened to one of theirs. And that is so heavy. Not just about the fact that her life was taken, even the manner in which her corpse was treated is so disgusting. And I keep asking myself, how come this was orchestrated by a pastor? Bear in mind, this pastor would also have church members. What is he teaching them? Where is the salvation here? And yet, people will go to this church. That is crazy. And given the fact that he was readily able to recommend this to the boyfriend of Favor, I have this strong suspicion that that might not be his first time. There's a strong possibility he might have recommended and done this with others prior to this one, just that he got caught on this one. And I don't know if the police investigated further in that direction. But I'm sure if they did, they may have found something else. Or they could have found something else. It's very unfortunate. But that is what it is as at now. They are languishing in prison. I don't know if they've been executed yet, but the last I knew, they were still languishing in prison. Subscribe to the channel if you are yet to do so. Thank you for watching the video. Watch our other videos. Pick the advice and the security tips in there. If you are traveling somewhere, let your family know. Do background checks on people. Don't just take people on face value. Most often, people are not who they seem to be, especially when they seem so nice. Yeah, I can tell you that. People pretend. People want to look good. People want to be liked. But their true nature is mostly always hidden. Find a way to know before somebody surprises you. Stay safe out there, and I'll catch you in the next one.